This is my Damascus Seax. I think it is just superb. I like a Seax anyway. I like this one, Damascus. I've never owned a piece of proper Damascus, and this is it. Fortunately, it was a present. You can get them on Celtic Web Merchant, and they come unsharpened and without a handle. I did have another piece of wood, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as this one. I've seen a few pictures of Seaxes with quite pale handles, and I think they look really, really striking from the usual dark handle of a knife. Put the little brass guard on, put the handle on. That's got a few coats of Danish oil on it. This has been bathed in ferric chloride. Is that the right acid? Yes, it is. To bring the pattern out, and it's been polished and it's been sharpened. And it is, I think, just a staggering knife. I've always liked the Seaxes. I love that period of history. The history, in about AD 400, the Roman Empire collapsed, and the Saxons from Germany moved westward throughout Europe and ended up in Britain, or England really, and became the Anglo-Saxons. Sax is a word derived from Saxon. Scrammer Sax is another name for them, but it seems to be less common as a reference. And indeed, Sax lives on in some of our districts like Essex, East Saxons, Sussex for the South Saxons, and Wessex for the West Saxons, although Wessex incorporated most of Sussex anyway. It's a period of history I really do find interesting. Used by both Saxons and Vikings, and seen quite a lot in the Vikings DVD series. Now, they weren't regarded particularly as a fighting weapon. There was some things and some Norse writing that I read that basically derided the fact that somebody had lost his axe and his sword and his shield, and he had to take out his little sacks. I suppose when you've got a big butch thing like a big axe and a big sword, then I guess trying to do something with one of these it's not going to be easy, because you've got the reach of an axe or a sword, and you have to get quite close to do anybody any damage with one of these. So they were seen really more as utility tools than a fighting weapon, although obviously if you've got something sharp and pointy and you're in a bad place, get it out and use it. The handle is round, as it's thought most of them were, and it's pale wood just because I like it. It's actually a piece of broom handle that I cut down. Bought some for another project that I'm doing. Piece of brass. There you go. I think it's a stunning looking knife. I wanted a pale handled. I've seen some pictures of pale handled Saxes, and I thought they looked just absolutely stunning. Really, really different. It's proper Damascus, and I think a really, really nice pattern. Undoubtedly, some Damascus expert can tell me what the pattern's called, because I'm not aware of it. I know there are various different ladder patterns and all sorts of things, but that goes all the way through, and it's proper Damascus. And I said, I just think it's stunningly beautiful knife. It's actually surprisingly usable and useful, although it's going to be much more of a cabinet queen than anything else, and it needs a sheath making for it. I have made a sheath for a Sax once. It wasn't pretty though. I'll try and have a go at doing a better one. So, size of the thing. Yeah, I'm using a tape measure, not a ruler this time. Overall is 15.5 inches, and the blade is, you're there, 10 inches. The basic rule from what I've seen with Saxes is that the handle is roughly a third the length of the blade. So whatever you happen, you're going to have a big knife, and it is a big knife, and I like it a lot. So that's my Sax, my favourite knife, without a doubt. History buff, do quite like having a piece of living history. It's effective, it's sharp, and it's great. And I forgot to mention, I inlaid a coin into it as well. That's actually a replica of a King Alfred coin, because I thought this is going to be a Saxon Sax and not a Viking Sax. Although they were used interchangeably, if a metal detector digs one up, you don't going to notice which one's which. But Sax, lovely, lovely knife. Really useful, quite underrated, although often seen in Forged in Fire.